Hey folks, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black Coffee with Tim Black Time. We got breaking news, folks. Breaking news. So I hope you got your coffee or your tea, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened. Some developing news has just occurred a couple hours ago. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who was assessing if she was going to stay in the race, has decided not to stay in the race. She has suspended her campaign. Senator Elizabeth Warren is now officially out of the Democratic running. Not a big surprise. We've been talking about it for the last couple of days after her poor performance in Super Tuesday. We, kind of knew this was coming. In fact, even staying in through Super Tuesday was sort of, I was wondering if she was going to even do that because it just doesn't look good for a sitting senator not to do well in their own home state. Elizabeth Warren drops out after what looked like a promising campaign in the beginning. I mean, she was considered a front runner and definitely a top-tier candidate at the very outset of it. There was a moment she was really surging, and then something happened. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what this means for both campaigns. But first, the most obvious thing we must talk about, guys, is what does this mean for Biden and Bernie? And for Bernie Sanders supporters, of course, we're wondering, will Elizabeth Warren endorse Bernie Sanders? Well, to that, Elizabeth Warren says she's not ready to make any commitments to anyone at the moment. And Elizabeth Warren says she won't make any immediate endorsements in the 2020 Democratic primary hours after announcing her departure from the race. It was an emotional press conference in front of her home in Massachusetts. The senator lamented a two-lane race between moderates and progressives that squeezed out other candidates in the primary, and all those little girls who were going to have to wait 4 more years for another woman to run for president. When pressed about her endorsement, if she would give an endorsement now, she says, "Not today. I want to take a little time to think a little more." And they said, well, not right away, but you are going to endorse. And she said, yes, but not yet. So, of course, many folks were wondering, what does this really mean? Who will she endorse? I was commenting on Twitter with Robert Reich, but Robert Reich was saying that, Elizabeth Warren supporters should go to Bernie Sanders. And I just want you to know, like earlier today when I was watching before Elizabeth made her announcement, a lot of the talking heads were saying how there were a number of Elizabeth supporters who are not actually Bernie Sanders fans, nor are they really progressive. So we need to let that sink in, and people need to think about what that means. Now, one of the chief arguments of Bernie Sanders supporters, and mine as well, has been that Elizabeth Warren has used a lot of Bernie Sanders plans, a lot of Bernie Sanders policies. But according to what I've been looking at online, and yeah, I know online can be somewhat deceiving, right? But I've seen a number of notable Elizabeth Warren supporters say they'll gladly go to Biden. Now, the similarities between Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren policies, well, let's just say there aren't any. So there you have it. Now, this does not go for probably a substantial amount of Warren supporters. I'm sure there are a lot of Warren supporters who are with Elizabeth Warren because of policy. I'm positive of it. I'm positive that there are people out there like me. I support Bernie Sanders for policy. That's it. That's my reason. His policy. What I like about his jokes or his hair or his suits or even the people that he surrounds himself with. Though I love Senator Nina Turner and I love, Breonna Joy Gray and the whole crew, Angelo and Dave and all the great people I met, I'm with Bernie Sanders because of policy. And if Bernie Sanders cease having those policies, well, I'll cease to be a Bernie Sanders supporter. That's not the case. With a large amount, I'm telling you, a large amount of Elizabeth Warren supporters were with her because she was a woman. So you can take that and you can feel any kind of way you want to feel about it, but that's reality. They want a female president. And they saw her as a vehicle of getting that done. So maybe this sheds a little bit of light on why she moved off of Medicare for All. Because a lot of people that support her may not have supported that Medicare for All stance. I mean, if you are a Medicare for All supporter and you still support, and you're willing to go to Joe Biden, and you supported Elizabeth Warren, and you will now move to Biden, you obviously don't care about Medicare for All. So what I'm saying, guys, we're going to be able to look and see exactly how much of Elizabeth Warren's support was about gender or policy. Now, maybe there's a mixture of the two. But for all of the chattering of the chattering class, you would have thought that this would be more about policy and ideology than about, And don't get me wrong. I want to be responsive and sensitive to the desire to have a female president. I want to be that way. All I can tell you as a black man who recently had the first black president become president, I just want you to know it's not everything. I would have much rather more changes happen for the black community that were positive than for somebody to reflect my skin tone. That's just me. I mean, I have kids. My kids don't have tuition. My parents need health care. These things are more important to me than the fact that Obama was black or is black. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know how many Bernie Sanders supporters support him just because he's Jewish. Maybe that's the thing. But that's the case. Okay. So now, what would Elizabeth Warren do? What's in her best interest to do? Well, I think it's very telling that right after Elizabeth Warren made her announcement, says she hasn't chosen who she will endorse, but says she will endorse, doesn't say she's not going to weigh in now. I noticed a tweet from Joe Biden to Elizabeth Warren, and it said I think just as plainly as possible. Joe Biden says that he admires Elizabeth Warren and looks forward to her continued work in the Senate, which should do a lot of good. There was no floating of possibility of maybe you could work with me or maybe there'll be something. I mean, I'm not saying I can read minds. I don't want to decrypt, encrypt, and unencrypt the Biden tweet. I'm just saying there was no mention of anything even relating to them working together in any capacity. So there were those that said that Elizabeth Warren had no reason to endorse Bernie Sanders. If she was going to do it, she would have done it long ago. Similar to 2016, she stayed out until it was the end, and then she, instead of helping Bernie Sanders, who she was ideologically connected to based on policy, she stayed out, and then she came out full force for Hillary, for women power. And now that's sort of off the table. I question how powerful her endorsement will be at this point. I think symbolically it means something. It means something for Bernie supporters in the future for her own career to say Elizabeth Warren stepped up and she supported who we feel ideologically she should be a natural coalition with. And of course, all supporters of Elizabeth Warren are welcome in the Bernie Sanders lane or to join the team, to join the family, community. But I don't know how excited I am that this will modify the race. I don't think it's going to modify the race much. I think the reality is Bernie Sanders will not right the ship here. He will not defeat Joe Biden because of Elizabeth Warren's support. He will defeat Joe Biden once he takes on Joe Biden directly and is able to highlight the issues with Joe Biden's record. And to do so without restriction, without hedging, without friendliness, without niceness, without dispensing with all pleasantries, and going directly for the jugular, because My children's future, your children's future, the future of the planet may depend on it. And we don't have time to, well, Joe's a good friend of mine and all this. We don't need, okay, we got that. We got the friend stuff. Now it's time to stop him because he's not going to do anything but lose to Trump. So save America from itself, Senator Sanders. Save America from itself. We won't rely. It'll be nice to have an endorsement from Elizabeth Warren. No disrespect, but we won't endorse. We won't back our way into this, into a win against Joe Biden. Okay? We're going to have to take it to Joe Biden. And I know he has a lot of black support. I understand that. But maybe people my age, late 40s and up, maybe they need to see people in their late 40s who are real people, not talking heads on TV, who they shouldn't trust, and tell them and make the case for why regular folks should take a second look at the record of Joe Biden and make sure the person who wants to cut Social Security and Medicaid, the person who was willing to cut Medicare, the person who never met a war he didn't like, the person who was partly responsible for a lot of the bad trade deals. Like, if they are you looking at this person's record and what they've done? How amiable, malleable he's been to all bad policies, and how he's not going to stand up and fight for middle-class people and poor people and minorities and black people and Latinos. He's just never shown that. I haven't seen it. And we need to call these things out because the only thing standing between a loss to Donald Trump, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, is Bernie Sanders. So that's all I got, guys. Find me at Real 10 Black on Facebook and Twitter. Also, text me the word cornbread to code 21000 to join my text list. And, of course, guys, if you want to know Joe Button, email me at tim@timblacktv.com. That's tim@timblacktv.com, including your mailing address, and I'll send you one of these on the house just because I'm that serious about No Joe. No Joe. Real simple. It's No Joe. All right, if you know Joe, join us. We're here, Johnson. All right, guys, that's all I got. Elizabeth Warren drops out the race. Come home to Jamaica. There's room.